For a great cup of joe, there's one thing you should know. Your morning brew can also be playful. Buff Boy Brewing guys make the temperature rise, and you surely feel naughty when you swallow our coffee. If you want some real heat, give your mouth a fine treat. You will want some more, rest assured. Buff Boy Brewing, you can't get enough of.
It's time for The Scribble, your weekly fix of celebrity chats, bizarre stories in the news, and basic random chatter with best-selling author and syndicated radio host Jeremy Bradley. Make sure your seat is in the upright and locked position and your barf bag is securely in place. Here's Jeremy Bradley.
Thank you very much, Larson. Jeremy Bradley here. This is The Scribble. Now, it's a Friday the 13th during Halloween month. Does that make it... I don't know. I'm not a horror movie person, but are we up for something terrible tonight? Is that what's going to happen? I don't really know. But anyway, I don't believe in that kind of crap, so let's just move on. But I mean, let's talk about the crap that's happening in the world this week, because it's just been a tragic. It's, the whole Israel thing, obviously so many people dead and missing, and it's an awful story. I'm not going to get into the crisis. I'm not one of those commentators, because, and I'll be honest with you, I just don't know enough about it, so I'm not going to be ignorant and go and say that it's this, it's that. I'm not even going to pretend. I don't understand the whole thing, so I'm not chiming in on that. But I will talk about how the news is being reported, because, I've been I was a journalism student. I majored in journalism. I've been in the newspaper industry and in, radio broadcasting for over 20 years now, so I do have some thoughts about the state of journalism, so stick around for that. And then, my God, the whole Taylor Swift thing. Yikes. She's a great person. I'm sure she's lovely. I have seen her in person. Taylor Swift pandemonium in Los Angeles just the other day because of her movie about the concert tour. So that's what we're talking about on the show this week. We're going from one extreme to the next. The Taylor Swift thing and then the crisis overseas. It's coming up on The Scribble right after this.
Isn't it crazy that you wait for payday, but before you know it, you're strapped for cash again? It's time to stop blowing your money and become a smart spender with the book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com. Learn simple ways to cut costs at home every day and during special times of the year. Don't go broke at Christmas. Don't remortgage the house for a fancy vacation. The book is filled with tips to save you money throughout the year. Check out the best-selling book, The Official Guide to Being an American Cheapskate, at cheapskatebook.com or on Amazon and iTunes.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. It's been a really interesting news week. I mean, just from world events, but then also, of course, in the celebrity world. Midweek, we had that whole Taylor Swift thing at the Grove in Los Angeles. If you're not familiar with Los Angeles, the Grove, I remember going to the Grove the first time when I was at CBS Television City. We were covering, I think it was America's Got Talent, and I didn't realize that the Grove was this big. I was still very much Canadian, not immersed into the whole Hollywood or Los Angeles experience. So I didn't know what the Grove was, and all these years later, it's basically still the same thing, a great marketplace, and there's the farmer's market. So the whole Taylor Swift thing, and people... You see, maybe it's because I've been around celebrities for so long in my career. You have to remember, if you haven't listened to this show for a long time, I was, an entertainment reporter starting about 18, 19 years ago. So I've had them on the phone. We've had them on this show. I've been on red carpets. I've, talked to them. So I'm not amazed. I'm not, and I've done some really cool things, but I'm not starstruck. I'm not going, gaga when I meet people. I mean, everybody asks me in terms of, were you ever intimidated? Who was the biggest celebrity? I mean, I was Betty White's 90th birthday party. I mean, that's kind of pretty cool, right? And so I certainly didn't fan out because we were doing a red carpet. We were doing a live broadcast there. So you've got to be really professional. Now, you also have to remember, this was back before red carpet correspondents, reporters, whatever you want to call them. This was before the days that you were doing selfies with everybody, because that was just not a thing back then. Not because you didn't have a camera. We had cameras, but you just wouldn't have asked a celebrity to take a picture with you because it wasn't your moment, right? You were there. It was the celebrity's moment on the red carpet. Now it's completely changed, and why I don't do them anymore. I don't care. So the whole Taylor Swift thing, it was really comical to me because people had asked me, are you going to go? You know, do you have tickets? Could you get media access? And realistically, yes, we would have had media access, but I don't give two shits about her. But I did. I actually said to our team on the Monday, because we knew the event was happening and there was all this speculation about, is Taylor going to be there, you know, which we knew she was going to be, because here's the thing, they would not have had such added security and a red carpet and all this other bullshit if she wasn't going to be there. And now, again, that's just us, you know, looking at it from a distance in the entertainment world going, yeah, they wouldn't close down the entire fucking mall for the day. They wouldn't have barricades and barriers and all this other shit if she wasn't going to be there. Like, come on now. And so I said that I would have gone only just to see the people freaking out. Like, I just don't get it. Even when my husband, okay, I've also said that I've had great access to celebrities. I've got a lot of them saved in my phone. You know, I have access to them in this business. And the only thing that I had kind of an embarrassing thing was my husband crying when he saw Beyonce in person. And I was embarrassed, and it wasn't even me. There wasn't a scene. It wasn't us like one-on-one with Beyonce. It was, you know, totally public thing. It was, and I was just like, I can't believe you're fucking crying. Like, seriously, your eyes are watering. You have to remember, and I've talked about this on the show, my husband is a big tattooed Brazilian fitness model, bodybuilder. So, and there's nothing feminine about him at all. Really. He's very, very manly. He's very masculine, which I don't think I'm allowed to say nowadays, because as gay, it's okay to be feminine. Girlfriend. But I couldn't believe it. I thought, oh my God, this guy, I don't even want to stand by him. And so I was very embarrassed, and I was kind of bothered by it. Now I sort of find it cute because he is this big guy and he's crying that he saw Beyonce, you know, 10 feet away from us. So the only reason I would have gone to Taylor was to make fun of those people. Really. I would have no interest. I don't want to be around that kind of screaming. It's also why I just don't like children. Like, I've got no interest in being around teenage and 20-some girls just screeching, even as it is on like TV show. When there's a commercial of like a baby crying, when you've got like a diaper commercial or whatever, there's always this commercial at the very start that you hear that. I have to pause it, fast forward it, mute it, shut off the TV. I can't handle it. I can't. So it's the same thing. I get this visceral reaction when there's just squealing. It happens on The Bachelor quite a bit, actually, now that I think about it. When I live tweet The Bachelor, not with this grandpa season, I haven't watched that one yet, but the PR people are a bunch of cunts, but we'll get into that in another show perhaps. But I can't handle when you've got the limo, you know, full of women, grown women. You know, we're not talking 12-year-olds here. We're talking 20, maybe 30-something. I don't know if you're allowed to be on the show when you're over 30, unless you're on the Grandpa Dust version. But I can't handle the squealing. I can't handle grown women going, ee! It just, I can't do it. So the Taylor Swift thing, I would have gone for comedic value, for comedic purposes. Am I making fun of Swifties? Yeah, I am, actually. And I don't care if you don't like that. I don't care. This is the great thing about my life right now, is I think, I don't know if it was when I turned 40 or I just haven't given a shit what people think about or say about me, because when you're in the media business anyway, I mean, I had people, when I was doing a video column for the daily newspaper years ago, I didn't like being on video. The reason why I got into newspaper and radio was that you can read me or hear me and I didn't have to be present. And so then when obviously newspapers had to come into the next century, they incorporated video into things, right? So here I was basically being like a newscaster kind of thing in the newspaper. And I hated it. And so there were tweets, people were just the nastiest comments ever. And then, you know, even one that still sticks out to me is that a person put a screenshot of the video and, the kind of face you just want to punch or something. And it didn't really bother me because I just kind of thought, hey, I'm still getting paid, so I really don't give a shit. Like, you know, every time you clicked it and watched it or whatever, they were making money, and then they kept me on. So we had the #1 video series for a while, and I was good with that. So it was all good. We were promoting my best-selling book, and it was all good. So and even on the radio for the 15, 16 years that I was on in syndication, we had 300,000 listeners all over the world. Not everybody's going to like what you have to say, and I wasn't even saying anything controversial. It wasn't a talk radio show, it was top 40 music. So I would make a joke, or I would do these celebrity interviews or whatever it was, and people sometimes would just, and I really didn't care. And people would say that that's the wrong attitude to have. I think that's the exact correct attitude to have. I don't give a shit. Then don't listen to the show. Then, because I feel like when people go on, social media and they will call me an idiot or stupid, or whatever, it makes them look bad. It doesn't make me look bad. And if anything, I've always appreciated that, because you're basically giving me your platform to promote whatever it is that I have. So you can put that screenshot or retweet the, the newspaper's tweet about my latest video or a comment about my book or something. You're just spreading the word about my book then, really. I mean, there's that old saying, any publicity is good publicity. Now, there are some exceptions, obviously, if you're, racist or whatever, obviously that's not. I mean, then again, in today's society, it actually probably does work for a lot of people. So, but I've always liked that. If somebody's going to go on a rant about me or call me out, or when I live tweet Bachelor and I'm, and I'll be honest, I'm slut shaming, but it's sarcasm. That's what I'm paid to do. Anybody who comes at me, I will almost always look to go and see how many followers do they have. And it's not a matter of me having a pissing contest with them, because I don't engage with that. I really just leave it. I sit there and go, okay, this person has, 3,000 followers, which I have more, but that's now potentially putting me out there to 3,000 more people. Now, whether they agree with that person who fired back at me, or they agree with me or whatever, bottom line is my name is getting out there and I'm being seen. And that's really how I looked at it, or I've always looked at it. So the Taylor Swift thing I thought was really kind of funny, because it's just, she's a nice person. We did a thing in Nashville when I was signing off of my radio show at the was it the Music Hall of Fame? I'm trying to think of what it was. We were there. It was like 9 a.m. We had to wait. People were literally lined up outside, and I just had to call the PR people and was like, "I'm here, let me in." And they had a thing where she was coming in, I guess, during like that summer. This was a few years ago now. But she was coming in the summer to do either like a songwriting workshop with kids or something, and it was basically, I think they said kind of like, she's just going to call and say, I'm coming today. And of course we let her, because it's Taylor Swift. Why the fuck wouldn't we? So, she's great to her fans. She's, I've never been a fanned out person over a celebrity, even as much as I like them. Now, I can say back when I was like a teenager, I idolized Ricki Lake and The Ricki Lake Show, and there was just something that was quite fun about it, because I was in elementary school when her show came out, and there was, I don't know. So yeah, I could say that as a kid, I did. I also really loved Vanna White. That was always, she was my first celebrity crush. Here I am now, a big old faggot married to a guy, but would I've obsessed over them back then? Yeah. In my 30s, now I'm in my 40s? No, not going to happen. And I don't even know, let's go back to my husband Charles there for a second with Beyonce. I think it was more just kind of, we'd certainly dance to her music in our basement with the dogs, and we have a good time with it. I think for him, it was just more kind of like, for him, it's a bit of a different story. And as much as I was laughing and making fun of him, he's from like small town Brazil. We're talking like crap town where the power goes out when it rains. There's chickens in your front yard. I don't want to use the word poverty, but it was very, very close, right? We're talking third world living conditions. So I can understand it from that perspective, where, you've got this global superstar like Beyonce, and here you are now. Where were we? We were in the States. I don't even remember what it was. Was it the I can't even. And now he's going to give me shit because I don't remember. Was it the Grammys? Maybe 5, 6, 7. It was many years ago. It wasn't just like in the past 6 months. This was several years ago. It might have been the Grammys or the AMAs. Was she at the AMAs? I can't remember. Oh crap. Yep. I'm going to hear about this one. But again, I'm not a super fan. I'm not crazed about it. Can I tell you exactly where we were for Betty White's 90th birthday? Because I was a Betty White fan. Yeah, I know where we were. I remember the hotel and the ballroom, and I could almost maybe probably draw the map of where everything was laid out, because I just took in that moment. Now, I don't go back there now and start kissing the carpet and whatever. Now, I did sit in the chair that she sat in for the press conference with all of us, but that was more just kind of, I wanted to do something silly. But in that moment, it's like, I'm sitting in this same chair that Betty White sat in. I was making fun of the whole, thing. Do I still look at those pictures? Yes, I do. But whatever. So anyway, as for the Taylor Swift thing, yeah, it was a little bit over the top with everybody's reactions to her showing up at the Grove for the photo ops. But it is great that she is in touch with her fans like that. She did a whole bunch of pictures with people. So very cool. Very cool. Tay, is that what she's called now? She's T Swift? I don't even know. Whatever. We're going to take a break and talk about news reporting coming up in just a little bit right here on the Scribble.
Ever had something to get off your chest but never had the balls to say it? That's a load of crap. Speak Free with JB.com is exactly what you've been waiting for. Your chance to tell it like it is and not care what anybody else thinks. Have your say on issues of the day. Join newspaper and radio columnist Jeremy Bradley as he tells it like it is. Hundreds of thousands of people have stopped by, including some well-known celebrities who have had a chat with JB and speak candidly about what's really going on in the world. You can join them too. Have a rant or a rave. Be brave and head on over to www.speakfreewithjb.com now.
It's never too early to start thinking about your next holiday. Have you checked out Mexico recently? From tequila tasting, swimming with horses, to ziplining through the jungle and watching whales and dolphins in their natural habitat, Puerto Vallarta has it all. Visit mexico.jbonair.com to see all the fun PV has to offer. That's at mexico.jbonair.com for hundreds of photos, interviews, and videos from around the tourist hotspot. Check out mexico.jbonair.com for all the fun. That's mexico.jbonair.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on the Scribble. So this one is the important story. The Taylor Swift thing was obviously, I'm a pop culture and entertainment, columnist and commentator, so that's kind of why we led with that story. And the Israeli Hamas, okay, first of all, let me just say, because I know people, and it's happened, and I don't know why, why haven't you condemned it? Why? Because I'm just fucking Jeremy Bradley. Like, really, I'm not a president. I'm not an influencer in that regard that I've got, millions of TikTok people that I dance for. Of course, it's a terrible situation. I don't like, we're in this weird time where if you don't speak out, somehow you support it. Like, I don't understand how that works. So you're guilt by default just because you didn't take that time to like tweet or whatever, which is, total bullshit, because that's like when people go and say like, I don't write about like happy Pride, and this was really funny too, because we had a situation a few years ago now maybe, where I made a comment about Pride and somebody tweeted at me and said something about that's offensive because I have a gay son or I've got a whatever son. And I was kind of like, okay, and then she started blowing up my DMs, and then I just casually said, well, let me ask my husband if he thinks I'm homophobic. And like, boom, she just, I didn't realize, I didn't. Well, then don't fucking call me homophobic. And here you are, I'm the one who's married. So it's great that you're tolerating, that you're doing what you can to support your gay son. That almost makes it seem like it's a hassle or it's something that you're going out of your way to do. You look like the fucking cunt. I do not. Am I swearing a lot today? I'm going to tell you why. Because just moments before we went on the air today, and I've got to tell you that, by the way, that we are taping this on Wednesday night. They brought in some kind of margarita thing. So I'm not drunk. I just really liked it. And when they bring me something new like that, when something new happens right before a show, I kind of am like, okay. So I'm trying not to focus on it. And I've only had like a few sips. It's nobody else is near a microphone, but they will vouch for me that this is still more than half. It's even more than 3/4 still. I just like the taste of it. Anyhow, so because you don't speak out, you're suddenly homophobic, you're racist, you're anti-Semitic, you're supporting terrorists, you're all about Palestine. I worry about what's going on in the world. Don't worry, like, don't go and check to see. And I'm not saying that like hundreds of people are doing this, but nobody's checking to see what Jeremy Bradley thinks about the crisis in Israel. I'm realistic like that. I'm not an influencer. Why are you looking to me to denounce it. And it happened, by the way, a couple of days ago. My husband, we also, in addition to the media empire that I have with our radio properties and audio and books and newspaper stuff that we produce, we do have e-commerce stores. And I was sent a screenshot of a DM conversation, whatever you want to call it, a chat conversation with somebody going and saying, why hasn't such and such store, why haven't you denounced, why haven't you, posted about Israel, why haven't you, stood behind, they asked me, well, should we post, the flag, and I said, no, because it's, again, if you're a global leader, let's say Walmart, or, it matters, that, are you supporting this, are you, but you have to realize that one is just a cheeky men's swimwear and underwear store. That you're not coming on there to discuss current events, whatever. So that's just not, that page is an escape. That's a silly page that's got pictures of man bulge and, half naked models. Why are we all of a sudden going to start posting, world events and because that's just totally not the vibe of it. So that's what I'm saying, is that it goes without saying that our companies don't support, the war and the, terror and whatever. Of course we don't. And 90 whatever % of the world feels that way. So don't come at us because we don't, I don't know. Not everything has to be a protest. I wrote that in my newspaper column before, a couple years ago, I guess now, where I just said, I don't have to be waving a flag and dress in drag to celebrate Pride. I'm proud every single fucking day of my life because, let's be honest, I retired essentially at the age of 39 years old. And because I made a shit ton of money in radio. I have had a successful career. I've got an amazing life with a beautiful house and man and dogs and, whatever. So, why? I don't know. So that's kind of my criticism about people all of a sudden jumping, just trying to find something. Who's gonna think, hey, I wonder what that man thong company thinks about the crisis in such and such. I wonder what they feel about the policy. I wonder what their stance is on abortion. What does the gay men's underwear company feel about abortion and Roe versus, that's just, so we don't chime in on things like that. My teams are instructed to just not comment because that's not, the page is for selling product. Look at what happened with, it was Kylie Jenner, I think it was, one of the Jenners, right? Ended up posting, and everybody's jumping going, tell her to point to Israel on a map. Why all of a sudden now, the one who does duck lips and sticks her ass out like she's presenting to get mounted by a basketball player. Why are they all of a sudden chiming in on war? Is it going to make a difference because Kylie Jenner says war is bad? I don't know. Maybe it does for some people. I just don't think so. So, of course, I'm against terrorism. Duh. What? Anyway, so that's always... Now, let's talk about the actual news story then, because now here we go. I'm not taking positions on things. I'm talking about the actual news reporting, the news story itself. There are so many inaccuracies, and that happens when you've got an unfolding story, right? We know that even when it comes to, let's say, mass shootings, 5 people shot. No, it's 7. No, it was only 3. Because in that moment, you don't know. It's still unfolding. The police aren't necessarily sure. But this is where I take issue with today's journalism. Now, you have to remember that when I went to school for journalism, which is over 20 years ago now. Well, no, 20 years ago. It was 21, so 20 years ago. It was very different. You didn't have... I hate when I see a reporter on Twitter, hi, this is Sarah from Global News. Could you just email me? I don't like that. I feel that that's really unprofessional. Now, I understand back in the day we were able to call people. We had to, work your sources. You didn't have to go out. You had to go to a building and, or cold call. You had to do all these different things. You had to look up on the phone book. You had to do whatever. I just feel that it's lazy reporting, where I see it publicly. I don't want to see Sarah from Global News reaching out to people publicly. Send a DM, do something on the side, but I don't like that because that just makes it seem like you're scouring social media, which again, that's where a lot of people get their news from, and that's how you find out that things are happening in the world. I get it. But I don't like it I don't like when I see that. Hey, can we use your clip? What? Just message them, like, or have them contact you then, because now you're, I don't know. Back in the day, I mean, yes, you would, the news outlet would have its own sources and its own reporting and things like that, but now obviously it's just easier. It's again, I'm going to say it's a lazy way of reporting. Just by reaching out, going, hey, can we use it? I've always said, by the way, and I have captured news, and I will post it, and I've had media outlets, reach out to me asking, and I say, you can license the photo from me. This is a business. They've got money. And I know that the daily newspaper, the Winnipeg Free Press, that I was in for many years, they pay $100 a photo. If I'm not mistaken, because I sold them one a couple years ago when there was a train on fire in my hometown as I happened to be going by. I snapped some pictures, snapped some video. I've still got contacts there, emailed them, boom, $100 for a photo in the newspaper. I'm not giving them free content. Why would I give? I don't need that 15 minutes of fame that they're going to, they're going to give me a photo credit on the news. You're going to pay for my fucking photo if you want to use it. That's how we're going to work this. And then I've said that before to people, which is, you're going to post it and you're starting to send all these pictures to the media. Have them pay you for it. The house behind me, behind our house, was burning down a few years ago, and the news outlets only had footage of it from the morning after. It was in the middle of the night. And we had, whether it was cameras on our property or whatever it was, we had the actual footage in the moment or whatever. And so we shopped it around that morning. By the way, first of all, let me be clear. The house was vacant. It was for sale. Nobody was living in it. So I wasn't one of those people who was like, I'm going to record this, but should we call 911 first? No, we made sure 911 was called. I knew that the home was empty. So then we did start to record, because also, here's the thing, is that it was behind our house. So I wanted to have proof, like, if there was any damage to my property, this is right. You want to have that. So I wasn't just, and I didn't go and run and post it on social media in the moment or whatever. Did I try to license it the next morning? Yeah, because I knew there was nobody injured. I knew what the deal was. They're not going to have pictures of it actually happening. They're going to just have some charred out building. So I can make some money off it. And we did. We made $200 selling 2 photos. So, but here's the thing about the reporting nowadays. I don't like when reporters do that. I also don't like, and this is just a personal preference of mine. Remember, I wrote a book called Put Down Your Damn Phone Already. I don't like seeing a reporter standing there clutching their phone. I realize that they might be getting sources of information right in the moment as they're talking. Clutching the phone, I don't know. I realize it's a very important tool for reporters. I do. I get it. But just like your live hit on the news right now that we're watching at 6:30 or whatever the hell time the news is on, you're on there for like a minute and a half. You can put it in your pocket. You can do whatever. But I also hate the ones that are basically reading off their phone as like it's a script that they've got the top. Back in the day, I'm going to tell you very quickly because we got to go for another break. Back in the day when I was in journalism school, you were given talking points with I don't remember what you were about to go live. You were about to do a live hit. You were on the scene. I don't remember if it was a fire, if it was a car accident, whatever. You were going to report from some crisis. You had, I'm not kidding you, the instructor gave us 5 minutes. By the way, the instructor is in jail now for bank robbery, but that's another story. Our instructor was a famed TV broadcaster in my hometown, and you had 5 minutes. He handed you the sheet of information. You went out into the hall to study your notes, your talking points, because he's going to be he's sitting across the room. He's going to ask you, we're going now live to Jeremy Bradley on the scene. Jeremy, what can you tell us about this? You had to hit your points. You had to get the information right. And that was what journalism training was. There wasn't, and like I said, you got this information literally, you had 5 minutes. 5 minutes because, like when you were out, then your classmate was up doing the same thing, and then you switched off. So then when it was my turn, somebody else went into the hall, right? They got their talking points. So everybody had something different. We all weren't just doing the same thing. And he was, okay, let's go to Jeremy. Jeremy, what can you tell us? You had to remember it, and you lost points if you stumbled, if you gave an incorrect response. I'm thinking of Matt Gutman from ABC News. Remember when maybe you don't remember, but he was suspended when he reported that all of Kobe Bryant's kids died in the helicopter crash a couple of years ago. Suspended. Because it's one thing to go and say there are reports, there is speculation, and he didn't. I mean, this is also kind of where I see it from both sides, where, like I said, it's an evolving story. Things are, in journalism, you used to get double confirmation. What that means is 2 separate individual sources not related. You didn't go and say, hey, yeah, I just talked to so-and-so and she told me this. Did it really happen? No, I need to hear the exact same piece of information from two completely different sources. If I confirm that, that's my double confirmation. I run with it. That's what journalism was back then. Now, again, thanks to social media, it's all about being first. It's not about being accurate. It's about being first. Are we out of time already on the entire show? Are we done the actual show? Oh, all right. Well, we'll take one more quick break. I'll be back right after this on The Scribble.
We hear you chirping. Get scribbling. Tweet up The Scribble at The Scribble Show. Join the discussion with Jeremy Bradley. It's all going down right now on Twitter at The Scribble Show and at thescribbleshow.com.
Jeremy Bradley here, back on The Scribble. Once again, happy Friday the 13th to you. I will be back next Friday for a new episode of The Scribble. Feel free to shout out at me anytime. Email, what am I saying? I don't even know. Live, I just want more of this margarita. Live at jbonair.com is the email address, live at jbonair.com. Talk to you next week. Bye-bye for now, everybody.
Want more Scribble? Check out thescribbleshow.com for past shows, celebrity interviews, cheapskate tips, and more. That's at thescribbleshow.com and on Twitter at The Scribble Show. The Scribble is a speak-free media presentation.
If you want some